in this problem, I want to find the equation of a line that passes through these 2 points and then graph it. So, first thing I need to do to find the line, the equation of the line, is first thing to do is find the slope. So this is my first coordinate, this is my second coordinate. That's the x value of my first coordinate and the y value of my first coordinate. That's what the ones are for. This is the x and y values of my second coordinate. This is the equation, or the formula, to find slope. It's rise over run, so we take the two y values and subtract them over the two x values and subtract them. So as you can tell, I'm taking the y2 minusing y1, y2 minusing y1, so negative 4 minus 5. And then I took x2 minus x1. All right, so, and then once I do that, I am going to do the math here. So that becomes a negative 9. This right here, negative becomes a positive, so that's positive 3. And then you start reducing, so this reduces to negative 3 over 1, which is negative 3. That is called my slope. All right. Next step we do is we need to choose one of the coordinates. I just chose the first one. It doesn't matter which one. You can choose the first or the second coordinate. I just chose this one. And the slope, and we use that with this formula. This formula here is called the slope-intercept form. The M stands for slope, and the B stands for your y-intercept. So it's called the slope-intercept form. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this slope we just found, and either coordinate, I chose the first, and I'm going to plug this in for x, this in for y, and this in for m to this formula. I wrote it right here. So I even color coordinate it. So y, okay, is going to be the 5. See how I took y and replaced the 5. See the x, I replaced the negative 1 and the x, and the m, negative 3, replaced it. B is what's left over here. So what I want to do is I want to find b. When I do that, this when I multiply gives you positive 3. You minus the 3 over. 5 minus 3 is 2. So I now have b equals 2. Or 2 equals b, which is the same as b equals 2. So my b value is 2. My m value is negative 3. And I plug all those back into this formula right here. M is negative 3, and b is 2. So b goes boom, and the m goes there. And that is my equation of the line in something called slope-intercept form. Now, what is useful about this equation? It helps us graph very nicely. This y-intercept is our b. I call it my beginning value, b for beginning value. So what I do is I go to my y-axis, which is right here. This is your y-axis. And I put a dot at 2, because that's what it tells me, beginning at 2. And my negative 3, as you can tell, is your m. M stands for movement, is how we're moving. Negative 3, if you look right here, is really negative 3 over 1. If you look right there, negative 3 is known as negative 3 over 1. So what that means, it's telling me to move negative 3 and over 1. So, it's rise over run. So I'm going to go from here, I'm going to go down 3, okay, and I'm going to go over 1. There's my point. Okay, see how I hit the line right there? And then I went down 3 over 1. Bam, I hit there. And then there's the graph. It should match up. All right, now, that's how you graph using this notation. You really don't need that way of graphing. What you could technically have done is just put that coordinate, which is negative 1, 5. Sorry, negative 1, 5 is right there. And 2, negative 4 is over 2, down 4. And then all you do is you put the dot and put the line through it, and that will actually give you the graph. Or you could graph it with this. You can use the 2 points to graph it, or you can use this beginning value and movement. Either way graphs it, whatever's easier for you. But you do need to label the y-intercept and x-intercept. The question asks for that. So, as you can tell, that's 0, 2. How do I get 2/3? Well, I'm going to show you that in a second. How do we get this 2/3 for my x-intercept? Again, the x-intercept is where you cross the x-axis. Y-intercept is where you cross the y-axis. One more thing before we verify this x-intercept, I want to point something out, is you could have, instead of doing your slope with this, you could have graphed the 2 points and just counted. Oh, I went down 9 and I went over 3. That would mean I went down 9 over 3, negative 9, positive 3, as you can see right here, which reduces to negative 3. So you could have just put the 2 points and measured how far down and over you went to get to the next point. You could have done that to find the slope, or you could use the formula I did here. Either way works. Now, next thing we want to do is see how we get x and y intercepts. So let's talk about that. So with our x and y intercepts, we want to, see right here, here's how you find your x-intercept. When to find your x-intercept right here, we want to put 0 for y, because I want x. I want to find my x value. So I'm going to put 0 for y. So see here for this function, I put 0 here for y, and I solve for x. So I minus the 2 over, okay, crosses out. I divide by -3, see here in pink. So I get x equals 2/3. So x is 2/3 when y is 0. And if you look at the graph, 2/3 comma 0. Isn't that kind of cool? It's right there. All right, and for my y-intercept, I put x is 0. So I want y when x is 0. So here I put 0 for x. And then when I multiply -3 times 0, I get 0. 0 plus 2 is 2, so y is 2. So when x is 0, y is 2. Now you can't see that. Let me move it down a little bit. If you move it down, you would be able to see that better. Okay, so you can see it right there now. Right there is at 0, 2, y-intercept, and the 2/3 0 is right there. So make sure you can find your x and y intercepts for this kind of problem, and you can graph it by putting the 2 points or using the equation. Either way works.